Assalamualaikum everyone. Today we are from Zex Gen Sdn Bhd. We'll present our second PBL for our system, and that is GPS Attendance Management System. Let me introduce the team. First, me myself, Siti Nabiha as the CEO, Amanda Liukauni as the COO, Kalai Arasi as the CFO, and Nur Ayuni Sabiha as the CMO. Move to our client from Bhd Sdn Bhd. They are running a clothing manufacturing business, and this system is special to help them in tackling their problems. In this presentation, we will present our sequence, communication, and also class diagrams. Without further ado, let's begin.
In this diagram, we have an actor which are manager and employee as the user. Login page, logout page, GMS controller and managers or employees informed are the object from this diagram. There is one alternative flow in this diagram, which is logout, and one exceptional flow is login invalid. When the user clicks to the GNM portal, the portal will show the login page. The user is required to enter the ID and password. After that, click on the login button to login. The login page will send user login info to controller. The controller retrieve info to managers or employees info. Then, the controller validate the user ID and password, so the user can log in the portal successfully and redirect to the GNM portal page. When the login error, the login page will clear the ID and password box and let the user try again. To log out the portal, the user just click on the logout button at logout page to request logout. Then the user logout successful. So this is the communication diagram for the same use case based on the sequence diagram that we have developed. In this diagram, we have an actor which is employee as the user. Portal page, GMS controller and employees profile info are the object for this diagram. There is two alternative flow in this diagram, which are edit personal data and save changes. One exceptional flow in this diagram is fail to make changes. In the portal, the user click on the manage profile data to edit or view the employee's data. The portal page will send a request to the controller to view the profile. Controller retrieve employees' data to employees' profile info. The controller will identify the employee so the portal can display the employee's profile data. User can click on the edit profile data at the portal page to edit the profile. After edit the data, user need to click on the save button. The portal will prompt the password, so user just enter the password and the portal will send password to the controller. Then controller retrieve password to employees' profile data. When the password is correct, the changes can be saved. The controller will send changes to the employee's profile info. Employees' profile info send the updated profile data to the controller, and the updated profile data will display at the portal page. If the controller receives the incorrect password, the portal page will display the previous profile data without editing. So this is the communication diagram for the same use case based on the sequence diagram that we have developed.
Third sequence diagram is Manage Shift Schedule. This sequence starts when either employee or manager clicks on Manage Shift Schedule. The interface then will communicate with GUMS controller to retrieve shift schedule from entity object, which is shift schedule data. Then controller will sync on latest updated shift schedule and straight display employee shift schedule on the interface. Alternative 1, which is edit shift schedule, started when manager clicks on edit button, then starts to edit. Second alternative flow starts when manager clicks on save button, then the interface will prompt password for confirmation. Manager then will enter the password, the interface will send password to GUMS controller, and it will retrieve password from second entity object, which is manager's info. If correct, GUMS controller will display changes saved, then it will return back to manager's info to update the shift schedule as it has already been edited. Manager's info will update and send the updated schedule to GUM's controller, and then it will let the interface to display updated shift schedule. The exceptional flow happens when manager enter incorrect password, and GUM's controller will let interface to display previous shift schedule without editing. Manager could start from the beginning to edit the schedule. Same thing happens when employee clicks on manage shift schedule. The interface will send requests to view to GUM's controller, and the controller will retrieve schedule from shift schedule data. GUM's controller then will sync for latest updated shift schedule and display that shift schedule to shift schedule page for employee. Next sequence diagram is manage absence and leave. The sequence starts when employee clicks on manage absence and leave on the ANL page. The interface then will send requests to enter. GUM's controller will take the role to retrieve the employee once again on employee's info, and it will sync for employee's ANL approval. If there is approval message for that employee, then controller will let the ANL page to display the approval message. If no, then the exceptional one, which is not applicable, will come out, and it will instead display not applicable to the ANL page. Alternative 1, apply request happens when employee clicks on add request for ANL. The page then will prompt a form for employee to fill in, and employee will fill in the form and clicks on apply button. The interface will send request to apply to GUM's controller, and it will return back as successful. The controller then will send request into managers or employees ANL info to record and save the request. Apart from that, when manager clicks on manage absence and leave, it will do the same as it does to the employee, but this time after retrieving, the GUM's controller will organize all employees' requests to display all the lists that request for ANL. Second alternative flow is respond request. This happens when manager clicks on respond button for particular employee. The interface will send requests to view the form that employee just filled, and the controller will retrieve it from the same entity where the request has been saved. The controller will let the ANL page for manager to display employee's form. Then manager will have to click the approval whether to deny or approve the request. After that, manager will click on save button to save the response, and it will take back again to the controller, and the controller will send approval info to the entity to save the approval info, and then it will take the manager back again on the list of employees' requests that hasn't responded yet.
Sequence diagram of display attendance record. There are two actors can access the page, which is manager and employee. Manager and employee play their role as user. There are three objects. First, attendance record page. Second, GAMS controller, and attendance info. Either manager or employee clicks on the display attendance record. There is an alternative flow, that is view a clock-in time. Attendance record page send request to view the attendance record in GAMS controller, and we can retrieve the attendance list from attendance info lifeline. Controller can syncing for updated and attendance list for the day. From GAMS controller to the attendance record page, display list of attendees and on that day. Alternative flow view clock-in time will display employees clock-in clock-out time in attendance record page. Is sequence diagram of display location and time tracker. Sequence diagram. There is two actors, which is manager as user and GPS bracelet as external. There is a three objects: position and time tracker page, GAMS controller, and location info. Manager will click on the display location and time tracker in location and time tracker page. Location and time tracker page request to GAMS controller to enter. Manager will retrieve all factory area in location info. The location info object will send factory area to GEMS controller, and this will display in location and time tracker page. There is an alternative flow 1, choose factory area. The manager will click on the particular factory area in location and time tracker page. Location and time tracker page will send request to the GEMS controller to view the area, and the GEMS controller will retrieve that area from location info, and the location info will send selected area. GEMS controller also retrieve bracelet location from location info and navigate the bracelet from GPS bracelet. GPS bracelet will send self message that is bracelet navigation active. The GPS bracelet will update the location in location info, and the location info will send the bracelet location to the GEMS controller. The GEMS controller will display the bracelet location representing by dot for each bracelet in location and time tracker page. For the exceptional flow 1, fail to track. The bracelet navigation inactive. GPS bracelet will send message update failure to location info. And the location info will send the bracelet previous active location to the GEMS controller. And time tracker page will display the latest activated bracelet location representing by fail word for each inactive bracelet. And then alternative flow alert employee. Manager will click on the alert button for particular bracelet, and the location and the time tracker page will send request to alert in GEMS controller, and the GEMS controller will alert the bracelet, and the GPS bracelet will vibrate.
For display employee report, the editor is user is manager and external is printer. There are 3 objects which are employee report page, GAMS controller, and employee report data. There are 3 alternative flow. First, sort the list. Second, quick search, and third, print report. For exceptional flow, it is enter error ID. When manager click on display employee report, it will bring manager to employee report page and GAMS controller. And GAMS controller will loading the page and retrieve employee data at employee report data. Then it will send back the data to be displayed on list of employee ID and name. Next, for alternative flow, sort the list. Manager shall click sort by of my employee report page to sort the list and send request, and it will sort accordingly to employee ID or name. For second alternative flow, quick search, manager shall search for employee ID by click on search box and enter employee ID and click search, then send ID to retrieve it. If manager put the wrong ID, the system will not verify it, which is manager need to send back the right ID and it will display employee name. For third alternative flow, manager can print employee report data by click on the print button to print particular employee report. For exceptional flow, which is an enter error ID, which is when manager want to do quick search for employee ID, the system shall display a message incorrect ID and will allow manager to enter ID again. This is the communication diagram for the same use case based on the sequence diagram that we have developed. Next is validate attendance. The editor is external is fingerprint machine. There are 4 objects. First, fingerprint machine activation. Second, GAMS controller. Third, employee info. And the last one is attendance info. The exceptional flow is fail to validate. The flow begins when fingerprint machine take the thumbprint of the employee. Then it will send the identification thumbprint to GAMS controller and retrieve employee info. If the system cannot validate the thumbprint, employee need to try again until the validate is success. After the validate is done, it will send info to attendance info and update the employee attendance. This is the communication diagram for the same use case based on the sequence diagram that we have developed. The last one is perform GPS tracker. The actor is external is GPS bracelet. There are three objects. First, bracelet activation. Second, GMS controller. And third one is location info. There is only one exceptional flow, which is fail to track. The GPS bracelet active when employee wear it, and GMS controller will navigate the bracelet. The GPS will send info about employee location as long as they wear it. The GMS controller need to update the location if they fail to track employee location. So, what make the GMS controller fail to track the employee? It is when employee take it off the bracelet, and it make the GMS controller fail to navigate and send failure. It is also will stop updating the employee location at location info. This is the communication diagram for the same use case based on the sequence diagram that we have developed.
This is our class diagram. Overall, it contains 12 interface objects from all the sequence diagram that we have developed and 7 entity objects. All of them are connected to the controller, which is GUMS controller, and we have included all the operations that belongs to the objects, and also we have listed down all the attributes for each entity object. For the conclusion, we hope for the system to perform well as well as our client wants. We are trying our best to make sure it always suit and always be on the line with the need of our client. Thank you. That's all from us.